We are often told that the physical book is a dying relic. In an era defined by the constant glow of smartphone screens and algorithmic feeds, we assume the printed page is left behind. However, data from October 2025 reveals a different reality. 3/4 of American adults report reading at least one book in the past year. This chart shows how readers consume books. Print dominates at 64%, with ebooks and audiobooks at 31% and 26%. While digital formats grew over the last decade, that momentum has hit a ceiling, remaining essentially flat since 2021. This high-level data suggests a stable reading culture, but the broad averages hide a massive fracture. The national baseline doesn't reflect how differently various groups of Americans actually engage with books. To find the real story of American literacy, we have to look past the formats and into the specific demographic lines that divide the public. The first major factor in predicting reading habits is formal education. How much schooling a person has completed serves as a powerful indicator of their total reading volume. Roughly 88% of college graduates read a book in the last year, compared to 60% with a high school education or less. This trend holds regardless of format. College graduates are consistently more likely to consume print, ebooks, and audiobooks. The data highlights a reading ecosystem that is highly concentrated. Participation in long-form reading appears to be a habit primarily maintained by those who have moved through the higher education system. On the other side of that divide, a significant portion of the population is disengaged entirely. 1/4 of all Americans report reading 0 books in the past 12 months. Ultimately, formal education serves as the primary gateway to the reading world, determining the likelihood that an individual will pick up a book at all. While education determines the volume of reading, age acts as the primary filter for the format a reader chooses. Among those under 30, ebook usage sits at 41%, with nearly a third listening to audiobooks. In contrast, the 65 and older group shows a near-total rejection of digital audio, with only 13% participation. Instead, this demographic remains anchored to physical print. These generational differences mean that the digital and physical book markets are serving two almost entirely different populations at the same time. Within these groups, there are also the power readers, the 14% of Americans who consume more than 20 books every year. Online communities and celebrity endorsements often portrayed this kind of high-volume reading as a social, communal experience, but the statistics suggest otherwise. Only 7% of adults participate in a book club, a small group consisting mostly of women. Despite the social media focus on digital bookish communities, the modern reading landscape is largely an individualized experience, fragmented by age and generation. When we combine the influence of education and age, it becomes clear that the average American reader is a statistical myth. These two factors work in tandem. Education levels dictate who enters the reading market, while age determines which technology they use to consume the story. This explains why the digital revolution has failed to replace physical books. Rather than a total takeover, digital formats have simply provided more options for specific younger and highly educated subsets. This brings us to the most consistent finding in the data, the physical print book. It is the only format that bridges every demographic gap we've identified. Across every age group, every education level, and racial background, print remains the one constant that a majority of American readers still rely on. Even in a world fragmented by tech and socioeconomic divides, the physical book has proven to be a remarkably resilient cultural unifier.